And we're rolling. I believe this is episode 38. Hello, everybody. Friends and lovers. Friends, mostly. Lovers, not really. Back again with another entry to the Terrorisk podcast with my buddy old pal, Chris Divers. We were just discussing...
Hello, Chris.
What's up? We were just discussing how selfish some of our friends were because they're not willing to make the effort to hang out with us, you know, because they're so I don't know. I guess they're just, what's the word?
Better than us?
No. No. It's like some kind of social dysfunction. I don't know. I guess
they're snobs.
No. Mike's the furthest thing from a snob. Straight up, he's not a snob. He's more like what do you call it? You know what Mike reminds me of? You ever see the movie Bubble Boy?
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, he's like that. You know, like that's not really being a snob. That's just kind of like, I guess sheltered. But no, he's not really sheltered. Actually, maybe he is. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Maybe he's one of those characters, you know, like me. Like I'm probably pretty hard to pin down for some people. I would imagine anyway.
Yeah, you're not. I mean, I know you, but I don't think you give off. Like, I don't think you could be read so quickly and so easily.
That's true. People have tried too, and it's really funny. You know, because like I'll say some like off the wall shit on Facebook, and like someone will piss someone off. And you know, it's funny. It's like really interesting when like I get into like little spats on Facebook like that because you know, they'll obviously go for like, you know, personal attacks, and they'll like try to use what they know about me and shit.
Yeah.
And then they always just pick like one thing. It's like every time they do that, it's like they don't know the full scope of what I do. They always just like
No, they just think like if I were him, I would be self-conscious about this. Let me attack them for that.
Well, I mean, no, because like I also knowingly do like goofy shit. Like for example, the samurai sword shit. You know, I'm like into that. You know, Japanese swordsmanship as a martial art. I do that regularly. Mm-hmm. So you know, some people will be like, what are you, some kind of, you know, like nerdy weeboo? And then meanwhile, like I'm going.
You're also
out,
a
like,
DJ.
Yeah, I'm going out and doing drugs and shit. You know, or other people will be like, what are you, just some fucking like degenerate raver? All you do is just do drugs all day. It's like, nah, dude, I'm actually like a fucking, you know, like a.
I'm a person. I'm multifaceted.
Exactly, I'm a multifaceted motherfucker.
I once went I was like 2 years ago. I went snowboarding with Mike, his cousin Steve, and his girlfriend at the time.
Yeah.
And I guess like at the end, like we drove up. The first day we didn't go snowboarding. We just hung out, drank, played games. I think at the end of that night, his girlfriend, or maybe it was the next day, she's like, you're really cool. I'm like, oh, thank you. She's like, I didn't expect you to be cool. I'm like, excuse me? She's like, you just don't look like you would be. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean?
That's fucked up.
And like the most, like I was in a car with her for 3 hours, like in the front seat. Like I was like, what?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's probably best that like, I don't know, I stay away from like, especially the girls from like, I don't know, in Staten Island, cause like it's like fishing with dynamite for me. I'm just like, dude, like you're really you're pretty easy to like wrap my head around, huh? And then they'll just be like, yeah.
I don't know. I'm well aware of where I was in the city earlier. Like I was at a ramen spot on the east side, and then I went to Lewin's, or the ice cream place.
Yeah.
There's no. I mean, it's been like this for a while, I'm sure, but there are no New Yorkers left in New York.
Oh yeah,
like
for sure.
Every girl I heard had like that California accent, and it was just the most obnoxious thing.
Yeah, it's a huge problem. I actually bitch about that all the time. I'm always like, dude, I'm so sick and tired of these like transplants. You should see some of the shit I post about it. Like, I'm just like, yeah, you know, Bushwick is a place where the most useless trust fund kids get sent to live. And like, you know, it's also where the most like retarded kids get culturally exploited, you know, from the city. And, you know, it's all gravy until like they just eventually all end up ODing or end up homeless. And that's literally it. That's like what life is like as a quote unquote Bushwick kid. Unless, you know, you get lucky or something. But most, like 90% of the people who live out there are just like, they're living miserable fucking lives. And like,
yeah, they live in Bushwick.
Yeah. Dude, these people, and
they're so far from shit. Like,
and they're trying to tell me like, oh, you should move to Brooklyn. You can't talk shit. You live in Staten Island. I'm like, oh yeah, you know, where there's like a way more quality of life here, you know, like,
and like at least I'm actually a New Yorker.
Exactly.
And I'm not pushing people out of the neighborhoods they grew up in.
Yeah, that too. And I'm like, and it's also like, I'm starting to think like living in dense urban environments like lowers your IQ. I really think it does.
Yeah, like
It's nothing to do with culture or morality or anything like that. It's literally everything to do with stimulation and the kind of stimulus you're forced to confront moment to moment at the rates that you confront them. You know, like for example, what does it take to really become smarter? Like daily deliberate practice in something like a skill or reading a book, like, you know, like doing research in something like a given field, right? And you do that, and you know, if you live in a dense urban environment, first of all, like you're already gonna be caught up with so much bullshit. Like getting from home to work is already going to be like a whole process, you know?
Yeah, like you're very caught up in shit that is counterintuitive to like you
Growth,
living your best
personal
life.
growth, exactly. So it's like, you know, maybe it's different when you're in your 20s. Maybe when you're younger, maybe it's good for you because you get like a broader perspective. You get to meet more different people. But I think like, you know, once that wears out, which it does wear out really quick, probably by like your late 20s, then you're just like, you're wasting your life like running around in really fast circles as opposed to just like, you know, slow gradual cycles that, you know, allow you to reflect and give you time to like actually process things and events. Whereas, you know, when you're living out in the city, and it's not even like it's good shit that's like happening a lot. No, it's like terrible shit.
Bullshit.
Yeah, it's terrible shit.
Yeah,
like
it's just bullshit.
It's like, oh no, my roommate's not paying his rent. Oh no, this guy OD'd. Oh no, I got mugged on the way home from work last night.
Shit, I gotta get up at 7 o'clock to move my car across the street.
It's like, oh no,
shit, they're breaking into Kias and Hyundais.
Like my ketamine dealer got arrested. Like, you know, it's like fuck. It's like, yeah, it's not good. It's no bueno. And you know, but then again, it's not even like I don't think I'm the only one who thinks this way. I think a lot of people are waking up to that fact, especially like all those like Brooklyn hipsters. They're all getting it. They're like, I want kids. I don't want to do this shit anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's turning into like that's the next step. Like you go to the suburbs. You move out. This is no environment to raise someone.
Yeah. But then again, you know, like I don't necessarily know if I want kids at this point either. I mean, because like I was actually talking about this before. I was like, honestly, I don't have much in this apartment. You know, like I think I have what I need for sure. But it took a lot just to like get this much for myself. You know, and, like if I were to start like dating a girl seriously and like let her into my life, like I would have to start changing shit, which I would, you know, if I loved her. But like I don't know, like I worked hard for all this shit. Like I don't know if I'm ready to just start like changing it over some bitch, you know, like
No, it's very like like I never had like growing up, like I never had like a big TV.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like a couple years ago I was like, you know what, like I've never bought myself a big ass TV. Like that's what men have. That's something you have when you have your own place.
Yeah.
So I bought like a 65-inch TV and put it in my room. It's way too big. It's actually really bright and kind of hard to sleep with the TV on. But it's my big ass TV and I bought it and I like it.
Well, you want to feel like a real G, you got to get a landline.
Oh, fuck that. I don't even have cable. Actually, I remember like when my grandfather came to stay, he's like, you don't have a house phone? I'm like, no. He's like, I'm like, I have a cell phone. He's like, what are you gonna do if your cell phone dies? I'm like, I'm gonna charge it. Why? Why would I? I'd have to be home. I'm gonna have my cell phone.
Oh man. Damn. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm like usually more talkative on these things, but like I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I'm caught up like admiring like the setup that I like built up over time. It's like it's really chill. You know, we got the vibes.
Yeah, I mean like that. I've watched like if you watch like a lot of podcasts and like as they like go on, like they're always adding things and changing things.
Yeah.
Well, we're no different.
I want to get like a neon sign soon at some point.
Once we get that Patreon going, I gotta get a neon sign.
I do have a Patreon. We do have a Patreon.
I know, but once I'm saying it.
Oh yeah. Oh we're really gonna need Brendan because Brendan, I think. See, the podcast is
do the shit people give us money.
Yeah. Me, like with the shit we're doing now, this is the consistent anchor. Whereas Brendan goes out and, you know, like the thing I was saying where I give him like a pen, like a spy camera hidden in a pen, and we have him go into like job interviews that he's wholly unqualified for. You know, like that's good shit. I can't fucking wait to do that. That's gonna be awesome. Gonna edit the shit out of that. And you know, it's like I felt like that was such a natural move because like Brendan's constantly telling me, he's like, I hate my job, I hate my life, I gotta do something, I gotta change it. And I'm like, this is great, you know, like this is good stuff because like everyone could relate to that. Like,
you know what, like if he accidentally gets hired,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he ends up working for like, I don't know, like the Church of Scientology New York branch or something.
Yo, once he does it a couple times, he'll gain more confidence. He'll know how to get around the interview.
Yeah.
And, like, he could get hired, and, like, they'll realize very quickly, and he's wholly unqualified. But now he has that experience on his resume.
Yep.
So then he can go get hired.
Yeah, I worked as a
yeah.
I did a brief thing as a manager of a Best Buy. I was a district manager. Really? Yeah, it lasted for a week. It wasn't they told me,
company's
it's
going down the wrong direction. They're falling apart there.
Yeah. It's not that
they're this close to chapter 11. I had to get out of there.
It's not that I was a bad fit for them. They were a bad fit for me, like
I wanted a new challenge.
Yeah, I felt like a big fish in a small pond, I wanted to see what the ocean has to offer. That's why I came here. Damn, I should be doing this. I think I could do this like really good.
There's a real art to saying, like, talking a lot without saying anything at all.
Yeah.
And it's admirable if you're good enough. I enjoy it when the other person doesn't realize that's what's happening. When people use buzzwords.
Oh yeah, that's true. No, it's. I mean, I'm actually. I don't know, because like I do admire that quality in some people I know. Like,
I enjoy a good bullshitter.
No, not necessarily a bullshitter. Like someone who's kind of a dick when you're talking to them, and it's like you don't really pick up on it unless you're a smart person. Like, for example, like I was hanging out with like two of my friends, and like one of them is just that asshole. So he was like, the other one is like not too bright, but he means well. So he was like telling this fascinating story about like fucking these like vegan crayons he found, and the other friend was like fascinating, it's like he didn't even pick up on it. He just kept going on about these fucking crayons, and I was just like,
oh yeah, it's a skill.
Yeah, but then like I realized like what he did, like he just literally shat on it, but it was like whatever.
Yeah, without without doing it. Like,
but then I think about being that kind of person, and I'm like, if I wasn't present, who would he be doing that for? Like who would you be acting like that for? Are you just like that because you're naturally a scumbag dick? Like that only looks good on film, on camera. In real life, if it's just like if you see that happening and you overhear like eavesdrop on a conversation between just two people doing that naturally in the real world, like you're like gonna think that guy's a fucking asshole. Like,
I do shit like for myself.
Yeah. No, I mean I definitely I'm not that sarcastic. I think I'm only sarcastic as a defense. But I think like
it's just a good coping mechanism.
Yeah, but when I'm like actually naturally speaking to someone, I think I'm very, very, very sincere. In fact, I think I'm sincere to a fault. I think it pisses a lot of people off. Because like I remember DK, we kind of had a little spat. He was like, he had because maybe he was just talking shit. Maybe this is just his way of like breaking into people before he gets to know you. But like he said something that bothered me. He was like, I don't know. To me, it doesn't really seem like you're trying that hard on your podcast. Like you're not trying that hard to grow it, And then I was like, excuse you. Like,
did he see the whiteboard?
No, it wasn't just that. But it was
I know.
But there was also that whole thing afterwards, like where he bullshitted me all day. He kept bailing, and I was like, dude, all right, fine. I don't like. I get that you bailed and all that, like whatever. But do you now see why, like looking back, I got annoyed at what you said? Because look at how you're acting.
Yeah.
Like
the pot calling the kettle black. Like,
exactly. And but I'm not even black. Like fuck.
Yeah.
Anyway,
missed opportunity for him.
But anyway, all I'm saying is, sometimes like in moments like that, like I could just like shrug it off with a cool, clever, smooth, sarcastic little quip. But I get pissed off, and I explain to them. I'm like, I say explicitly, like, yo, you're being a dickhead. But maybe I'm not like that with everyone. Maybe I'm just only like that with like really close friends, which probably makes more sense.
Yeah, because I mean, that's how you like. I feel like it's how or how like I could tell like you give a shit.
Yeah, for sure.
Like if you're gonna be sarcastic to me, like you don't care.
For sure.
But if you're gonna be direct and let me know if I'm being an asshole or I'm saying something stupid or whatever, it's like, okay, you care.
Exactly. And I do care. I do care a lot. And that's actually, that's one thing I could definitely certainly say about myself.
Care too much.
I do care. I don't know if I care too much, but I definitely do care a lot.
Yeah,
I give a shit. That's a really hard quality to find. Most people don't give a shit, I guess.
Absolutely. That's something I always look for in people, like people that I actually like end up like trusting and like talking to and hanging out with.
Yeah.
Like sincerity.
Oh, well, sincerity. See, I don't know about all that. Like, okay, you know, like, because we do live in a real world too, right? Where it's like you can't be sincere to everybody.
No,
you know?
no. I mean, like people that are sincere. It's like, okay, this is a human being. I could be like myself and a normal person to this person.
You know, I think the way I function is I think I give people like a barrier to entry. It's like how
so do I.
like are you at least smart enough to see through the bullshit that I'm putting in front of you? Are you able to see, like read between the lines here and like understand like how my words are actually contradicting my real life actions? You know, like can you see that like the way I live doesn't it like has nothing to do with like all the bullshit that I'm spouting at you through my words? You know, like can you differentiate that?
Yeah, that's totally something I would do and like see like notice how people react that way. But yeah, why am I like tripping over my words?
I don't know. Maybe you're
Gotta edit that out.
No, maybe you're having a heart attack and you're about to go into cardiac arrest.
I told you my grandfather almost just had a heart attack. How dare you?
Oh shit, my
I'm not
bad.
offended. It's okay.
No, I wasn't even thinking.
I know, of course you were. It was a fucking joke.
I was thinking about that fucking football player.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how fucking old is that guy?
I don't fucking know. What's up,
I wonder if it's CTE related.
Yeah. You know, because as you know, I listen to like NPR. You know, and
Somebody's got to.
They had a whole fucking segment on it about like that event, and they were like talking about how all schools should be equipped with a defibrillator or an AEG machine. Is that what they call it? An automatic emergency or AED machine, automatic emergency defibrillator.
Defibrillator. Yeah. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Why not?
Those things are fucking awesome, by the way. Like, you know, at
professional games, they have paramedics standing by just in case.
Oh, of course,
doctors.
Yeah.
Like,
but I mean, consider like we should probably have those in every school. You know, like that's.
They got a nurse.
I mean, come on, like. No, seriously. The more I think about it, I'm like, why doesn't every school have an AED? You know,
because
like,
money. Because most education is underfunded, and I don't think any president has really run on education. Or if they have, they haven't done anything about it.
No. That's
why is everything like guns and gay marriage?
No. It's because education is the bitch shit that the first lady fucking runs on. You know.
She doesn't run. She just shows up to school.
And she tries to do some shit. You know, but she's
like, hey, here's some books.
But the first lady does like do a lot of change, like make a lot of changes just from her presence in those circuits. You know, because like, you know, for example, like. Obama did some like, you know, all right shit, but
That's right,
and also Nancy Reagan did a lot of fucking damage.
Yeah, No Child Left Behind. I don't really know if that is.
She did a lot of fucking damage with that shit.
Oh, okay, yes, all right, you're on the same page.
She did a lot of fucked up shit, you know, like. So I'm saying it could go either way. Like the first lady does have a lot of sway and influence over like matters like domestic matters like education. You know, it's like. We can't downplay that. And you know what, Obama, I'm pretty sure Michelle Obama also did. I forgot what she did, but I think she did something that made things worse. For something, I don't know, whatever. But
I remember like her, like she was championing some program, but I've never heard anything either positive or negative about the outcome.
You know, I'm definitely, if I did stick to college, I'm definitely like a liberal arts major through and through. Like, I would straight up admit it. Like, look at me, dude. I'm doing a fucking podcast. We're talking about like social issues, like education. That's definitely just where my head was always at, you know? Like, it's also because of my life experiences, you know? I went through the system. I was a fucking foster kid. I was a ward of the state, been through a group home. I went through so many fucking family court sessions, you know? Like, I get it. Like, I get why.
Hey, maybe now the system will work in your favor. It's not for everybody.
Honestly, though, the system did work in my favor. And you know what's fucked up about it? It's like, I'm pretty sure if I was black or Hispanic, it wouldn't have.
Yeah, probably not.
I think people treated me differently in the system, you know, because of my ethnicity. And it's also like I had a way different outcome because of my difference in ethnicity. But at the same time, it's like
your environment too is different.
Yeah, like no one else I know personally went through any of the shit that I went through, except for the people I went through it with, you know, like. But yeah, that shit was pretty fucking wild. You know, it showed me a lot of things that, you know, most of my friends will probably never ever get. My own family members even will probably never ever get.
Like, I think it was like because that time at Zuka's James had a good time, whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, Ivan's cool. I'm like, yeah, like Ivan's cool. And then I was like, he's like, how long you know him? I'm like, I don't know him for like fucking over 15 years. And I was like you just I don't know how it came out. It just popped in. I'm like, oh yeah, fuck. I haven't had a really rough fucking life. I always forget about that.
Hells yeah, I did. No, it's easy to forget because like I'm doing all right now.
Oh yeah,
you know?
Of course,
like,
yeah.
But isn't that ironic though? Like most of our friends who aren't doing all right now were doing pretty all right, you know, when they were growing up, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's funny how that works out that way. which is something to consider. I mean, look at Zuka, for example. She's doing great.
She is. Yeah, I'm really proud of her.
And her upbringing was fucked up.
Yes. I don't even know the full story. I don't want to talk about it.
Just what you know is like fucked up. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, who else? Fucking, I don't know, like.
Yeah, that's about it.
That's about it. Yeah, everyone else, like
everyone has their own little like fuck up. Like,
but then I look at the most fucked up person now, say like Little Matt, and like he grew up with a family, like normal siblings. He grew up in a home, like with meals every day. Like he grew up with whatever. And I'm like, and he turned out like that, and I'm like, you fucking dickhead.
Drugs, man.
I do drugs. You can't blame the drugs. No, it's something else entirely.
No, I'm not blaming it's not entirely the drugs' fault.
I think it's whether in your pivotal years you were thrust into a moment where you had to save yourself, and if you never experienced that at those years,
if you're ill-equipped for like a real struggle, so like when it happens, like people fold. If you've never toughed it out before, or at least had like a smaller like struggle, like how are you going to deal with like the rest of life? Because shit doesn't get easier.
I think for you, it's your shit was it's you grew up as the son of a cop, so you were guaranteed a broken family, straight up. Like unless your mother was another cop or or like a nurse, it was never gonna work. A cop literally cannot sustain a relationship unless they're with like another emergency response worker or something. Like.
Did I tell you about how so until I showed my dad The Wire. His favorite cop show was the show called The Job.
The Job.
It was only one season, and he showed it to me, and he's like, she's like, this is like the realest, like this is like the closest to like like being an actual detective in my opinion. And the main character, the detective, he's a dick. He's on pain pills. He's dirty. He's cheating on his wife. He has a girlfriend. He fucking like lies about working overtime. And I'm just sitting there thinking, I'm like, why the fuck do you show this to me?
Because he wanted, he was communicating with you.
Oh no, yeah.
But that's a good thing. That's a good point. And I'm like, that's your shit. Like that the fact that you grew up as the son of a cop makes you like
it's a lot more than that.
No, but that's
my dad was
that's like that's an empirical thing across like most people. Like
they also
and then not just any cop. But a city cop. It's a difference between being like a cop in fucking like a Montana town as opposed to being a cop.
Yeah, those aren't like cops. Those are
members of the community. Those are actual police officers.
That's what police are supposed to do.
Those are actual deputies and members of the community who know every Tom, Dick, and Harry, who know
because their uncle got them the job.
Yeah, who knows everybody in town, who knows what's up. Everybody likes them. He likes everybody. And like that's great. You're right. That's fucking what it's supposed to be. But it's not like that being in the NYPD. It's not. It's less like being in a gang and more like being in a fucking like a paramilitary.
I mean, this paramilitary, but they're a gang too. Like cops and the mob are very they're pretty much the same. They're just like a mirror, just a reflection of each other. Like. And that's why like cops and like gangsters like respect each other.
Yeah,
they're
from the same place too. A lot of times.
Well, that too. Yeah, but like, and they understand like you're on that side, I'm on this side. But like they're like cops and criminals drive the same. Cops and gangsters smoke cigarettes in like their car with the windows rolled up.
Yeah,
like they know the seedy, dirty underworld that like regular people don't know.
You know
what cops hate more than like mobsters?
What?
Rats, because they don't respect them.
Well, it's also rats are useful. You just
but they don't. But they don't respect them.
Yeah, it's not like I hate you. To me, hating a rat would be like hating a garbage bag. It's like, dude, I don't hate this garbage bag. I use it for exactly what it's supposed to be doing. And then I don't feel any type of way about this garbage bag. It's nothing special. It's not a human.
Yeah, but you have to keep in mind, like, because like that's something that's like I like don't always take into consideration when talking to my dad, but like when I think about it, it's like you have to deal with some of the shittiest people there are. Like you can't. No, you don't have to hate people and like be assholes to them, but like you have to like know
it's worse than that. Like think about this. Like imagine you're a cop, right? You understand that like most of these gangsters, they didn't really have a choice. You know, you get that.
Yeah.
And but you still have a job to take them down because they're doing shit that's hurting people. That's just a fact, right?
Oh yeah, I was talking more with how they treat rats.
All right, so where I'm going is the only way to take down those gangs. First of all, they're your natural enemy. Your job is to make them win. So like the only way to take them down is to work your way up the ladder, right? Up the leaderboard. That's how you really take down the gang. So to do that, what do? You have to compromise a lower member to give you shit on the next highest member. To give you shit on the next. Are you okay? Do you want water or something?
No, I'm fine.
All right, but you know what I'm saying. And how do you make a rat? It's really, really easy. The CIA does it in the most fucked up way. But like to make a rat, you know, you literally just like you honeypot them. You put them into a compromising situation, get evidence of it, and you threaten them with it. Say, if you don't do what I say, I'm going to fucking send you to jail.
Well, I mean, honeypotting is completely fabricating and setting up the events. Like the CIA totally does that. But regular cops don't do that. You just have to like you got to catch the lower guy.
Because they don't
scare them.
They don't have to go that far because they're already criminals that they're dealing with. Yeah, you're right. But
you look for the weak, if you're going after.
No. But we're not talking about like honeypotting them. Like the way the CIA does it. Yeah, they'll honeypot you with the law. But the way the cops do it, they'll fucking like come in like while you're playing handball or something, and then they'll yoke you up and they'll throw you in the car, and it's like the windows are tinted. Like they have no idea what the fuck you're doing in this car, and your boys right now are seeing you fucking in here for 30 minutes straight talking to a couple of fucking cops, and we're gonna kick you the fuck out. Like, what do you think? How do you think that's gonna look? It's gonna ruin your whole fucking shit. You know, like they'll threaten you with that shit. You know, like they'll be like, or we could do this right. We'll go downtown. We could have a chat, and you'll get out, and you could tell your boys whatever story you fucking want. You know, like shit like that.
Yeah, that's how you be a smart cop. You know, because I know smart cops, and that's what they'll do. Shit. They don't threaten you with like legal shit. They'll threaten you with street shit because they know the streets. They know like what could actually hurt you. If they did, and they wanted to use you to get somebody who's potentially more dangerous, they know they're risking your life. They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't like purposely make it look like you're cooperating with them because they don't want you to be murdered,
and
like,
you lose an asset too on top of that.
So like you would try to like crack them,
but the way the CIA
and then make sure you put on a good show that like they didn't do anything. You drop them off, and like curse them out, or like you like purposely bust them up later and give them shit in front of people. You've seen The Wire, right?
Yes. But the way the CIA does it, I think, is terrifying. It's absolutely it's horrifying. Like, let's say you made $100 million off some tech startup for some security program, right? And you're having a good time with it. You're like, I'm gonna go fly to Singapore and fuck a bunch of hookers, right? And you get drunk, you get fucked up, you meet a chick, whatever, you do some drugs, and then you wake up. And then all of a sudden, there's like 3 guys in suits in your hotel room, like looking down at you, and you're like, "What the fuck?" And it's like, "Yo, these are the pictures of you with the girl last night. She's fucking 15 years old, scumbag. Congratulations, you're a pedophile. If you don't want these photos to get out, you will do exactly what we say whenever we say." You know how
100%, yeah.
And it's like you can't.
But like the lesson here is, if you're relatively important, don't go flying to Singapore fucking hookers. Like you have to be smart.
All right, what if
you're a criminal? You have to be smart. Like you can't.
But what if you're not even a criminal? What if you're just like literally a guy who just invented something that was too powerful for, like...
Well, there you go. You would know it's too powerful.
Yeah, I mean, for example, like a guy like... You know who I think colludes with the CIA a lot?
Who?
Elon Musk.
What?
I think Elon Musk gets bullied by the CIA all the time.
Why?
I mean, just over, like...
I don't think I'm sure they... If there's something to know about him, they would that's what the FBI did.
Because the thing is,
tabs on people.
All right, here's the thing about this is what I understand. I don't know this for sure, but this is what it seems like to me. When it comes to politicians, they always need a corporate avatar. Every politician needs a corporate world avatar. As in, like, if I'm a senator, I need a guy that's like a chairman of the board in some huge Fortune 500 company, so that I'll have a presence there and we could work in tandem together where I'm in office and he's in the chair, and we could both like work together in tandem to really fucking win. And like, that's normal, right? That's just the way the game is played these days. Politics and business is a revolving
They're the
door.
Same thing.
Yeah, it's a revolving door. So it's like, I think of it like that, and I'm just like, well, like even like alphabet agencies need to have their own corporate corporate avatars too, See, maybe Elon Musk is like just a fucking corporate puppet for like a fucking alphabet company. Because like I don't know. I mean, if I was like the FBI or the CIA, I'd want some fucking clown like Zuckerberg or Elon Musk or fucking one of those really public douchebags to just like do my bidding. And they're idiots. They're not like geniuses or anything. Like, all right, the only person who I think that wouldn't work on is like Bill Gates, because I think like honestly think Bill Gates is.
You ever watch that video of him being interrogated, or like he's being questioned for what was it? When you
he had to answer. He had to answer before a panel. Yeah.
Yeah, and like that cop
he went to a hearing.
Yeah, but like it was behind closed doors and it's recorded.
A public assembly, whatever you call it. Yeah.
But like the cop is asking him questions that he literally doesn't like. He doesn't know he doesn't realize what he's asking. He's like in this email dated this date. He's like, you said that you emailed so and so that Java could be a risk to Microsoft's profits or whatever.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? He's like, and like he's like, this fucking like what kind of question is that? So the way he answers, he's like, yes. He's like, it could be said that the Java runtimes can slow down the performance of Microsoft, which in theory could hurt its profits. He's like, but who is Java? Like, what is Java? Like, I doesn't realize he's talking about JavaScript.
He's talking about like literally a program, like a script that was written.
Yeah,
by
and he's like,
program.
it's.
He didn't.
You
he
have to
treated
watch.
it,
You have to watch it. No, Bill Gates is having the time of his life.
But the thing is, like, he wasn't the first guy to do that. You ever heard of a man named Howard Hughes?
Yeah. Oh,
so Howard Hughes. Howard Hughes is the guy that Tony Stark's father was modeled after. What was Tony Stark's father's name? Howard Stark.
Howard Stark, yeah.
Okay, there you go. So Howard Stark was literally based off of Howard Hughes. Now, Howard Hughes was like this insane fucking billionaire.
Oh, I know Howard Hughes.
Yeah, so
I'm sorry, talk. Like,
the shit he did, right?
Yeah.
Like he was okay. So yeah. So yeah, it was the same exact thing. Just it's literally it's when a titan of industry emerges into the world. And they present to you something that literally flips the world on its head, that changes everything. Mm. And what happens is like those guys accelerate to such a point where like, even senators get threatened, like they're like, oh, I can't wrap my head around like the fact that everyone's like buying into what this guy's selling, like I don't get it. I don't understand it. Or it's like they're the direct competitor, it's one or the other.
Well, you understand this country's run, right? Like corporations fund the campaigns.
That's called lobbying.
Yes.
Yeah. I know how that works.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, all right. Actually, I wanted to say this before, but see, if I was a CIA, you know what I would do? I would set this guy up, give him a lot of money, a lot of property, set him up to like go to like clubs where the rich people go and become friends with them.
Yes.
And gain their trust.
Yes.
And then do things like, supply them with underage hookers.
Yes.
On his private island.
And then kill him.
When
he gets caught.
Frame it as suicide. Supposedly recover his backup hard drives and never release the contents of anything. A logbook, which legally every plane has. What plane... If you had a private fucking plane and you got arrested, how quickly would the name of the people on your list
the thing is like shit like this, what we're talking about, that's not a big secret anymore. Like they've openly stated they've done shit like this. Not to who, they didn't state to who they did it to, but they openly said like, yeah, we literally compromise like really powerful people and use them as assets. Like that's how they operate. That's what they do. So it's like,
it would be like it's to them, they've said like it'd be inadvisable to release all like the entirety of like
so like fine we could say Epstein, but this is what I'm going back. It's like honestly like Musk is really looking like the new, like maybe Epstein was like old news for them, maybe Epstein was like the rusty old tool in the shed that the CIA just never used for years. They were like, what the fuck, but
Elon Musk came from money. He already had money.
That's why he's perfect.
I don't think he's up to anything like.
No. He himself isn't up to anything, but the CIA literally use him. And I bet they don't even have to pressure him with anything. He's probably like, oh, yo, you guys are so cool. Yeah, I'll do whatever I can just to matter. He's probably like that,
Imagine being so rich, you're like, I want to meet the CIA.
That's what he does.
I know. But like,
And the CIA were like, look at this fucking clown. He's probably a little useful. You know, like, I swear to God. Like, dude, he's launching rockets into space. Like, of course.
oh, I would say like, all right, like he knows, he knows a lot of people and gets to rub elbows with a lot of people, but
Yeah.
I don't know if he's like being like I feel like he's unaware that he is providing information. Because Elon Musk
all right, let me
takes
put it this
me as
way.
a guy who
Are
just
you
probably
telling
talks
me?
way too much.
Are you telling me Elon Musk was never invited to fly to Dubai to hang out with some sheik who possibly has ties to ISIS?
He was hanging out
And
with some sheiks at the World Cup.
That's what I'm fucking saying.
Drinking a beer,
dude,
which was illegal.
Elon Musk would be the perfect CIA asset. If I was the CIA, I would.
I'm agreeing with you, but I feel like he's not aware.
Oh, well, I think he is aware.
I feel like it's just like
I think he's like.
I feel like
I don't
you
think
just call him like, hey, Elon, how's it going? I saw you were in Dubai last week, and you'd be like, yeah, I was talking to the sheiks about this and that.
So
like
basically, you're saying they don't even have to put a wire on it. He'll
They're
just
just check in with them, like, oh, like what's going on, Elon? We wanted to offer you this free shit.
Oh, okay.
We heard you're in Dubai. Like, how was that? We saw you at the game. You'd be like, oh yeah, I was hanging out with so and so. They were telling me how like they're like weeks away from building a bomb. Like,
you're absolutely fucking right. You're absolutely fucking right.
I'm yelling at that.
No, you're absolutely right though. That's definitely how it's like. That's definitely.
I just feel like that's. That feeling.
Yeah. No, I agree. I concur. That's the vibe I'm getting as well.
You'd have to be like the coolest CIA agent. Like if everyone knew like you got Elon Musk, but like without actually having to do anything.
Nah, they're
You'd be
probably
like the greatest of all time.
Nah, dude, you got guys that are like, dude. Well, you find your asset is Elon Musk. Well, my asset is the guy that killed the last fucking 3 Russian presidents. How about that? You know, like that's
the current Russian president, Putin.
What?
No, I'm
no, like the guy, the actual trigger man. You know,
yeah.
Or the intelligence guy. I don't know. Like I watch too much Tom Clancy shit. Like I've been watching Jack Ryan.
I'm not interested in that shit. My dad gave me one of those.
Oh my God, you're so missing out, dude.
When my dad is too passionate about things I already don't care about, it just puts me off.
Let me tell you something about Tom Clancy. Here's what's wild about Tom Clancy. Tom Clancy is so detailed in his work, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I forget now.
That he got the president of the United States to like request his counsel, you know, like Tom Clancy was literally a military at some point, like a military advisor for the president because of the sheer knowledge he had about the Kremlin, you know, like the USSR and shit. And what's insane about all of that?
What?
Tom Clancy never once worked for he never once served in the military. He worked for some insurance company. Like he never once served in the military or any brand. He tried, but he washed out.
Why is his writing so is it like realistic to like what that situation is? I don't know what is. I just know it's military stuff. I don't really know anything about any of his. Like I know Splinter Cell. I know the game.
You ever see any of the movies?
No.
Hunt for Red October, Sum of All Fears, Clear and Present
Hunt for Red
Danger.
October is supposed to be good, but
you never saw. What? Oh, there's got to be some Tom Clancy. Oh, okay.
The Bourne movies him.
No. Let me think.
Jack Ryan's him. Right?
Rainbow Six. Tom Clancy. That was all Tom Clancy.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the thing about Tom Clancy. Tom Clancy, let me break down his work. His work is like highly, highly detailed when it comes to like military technology, military policy, when it comes to like.
But how does he know? Like, is he talking about real shit or is it made up shit?
It's all real shit. 100% real shit.
Where's his source from?
No.
Like, how does he know it's real?
No. The actual events he writes about are all fictional.
Okay.
But the actual plot devices and the mechanisms are all real devices, like, you know, politically, like he like every time like the military acts, he goes by actual military doctrine and protocol.
Okay.
Of each, you know, like every time, like, you know, like a politician gets assassinated, like he literally writes out actual, you know, everything is like correct to the T.
Yeah.
And when even down to when he describes like military equipment and like vehicles and shit, everything down to the specs is all like spot on. Mm-hmm. And it's like it's eerie, you know. It's like, dude, he has no experience like serving in the military, and yet he was able to write things in such detail. That's one aspect of his thing. The other aspect of his work is that he always like writes these amazingly stalwart characters. Like imagine like Han Solo, you know, like.
But he was a scoundrel.
Yeah, like a guy who's willing to bend the rules, you know, to do what's right. but bend the rules in a way where not only am I just like bending the rules, but I know all the rules down to a T.
It's for the best.
But now I'm put in a situation where I have no other fucking choice. How am I going to do this? And that's what he does. So like for example, like his main like a lot of people call him the American James Bond, but Jack Ryan, right? Jack Ryan is Tom Clancy's like basically Luke Skywalker, right? Jack Ryan is a CIA. He's a former Marine, right? And
Grew up on a moisture farm.
I forgot where he grew up, but he's a DC guy generally, right? So like he was in the Marines. He gets injured, and he gets injured really bad. But he's so smart and he's actually really competent. Like I think he was an officer in the Marines. He gets after he leaves the Marines, he joins the CIA as an analyst. He gets a desk job in the CIA. But then, since he's such a smart guy, he notices something that actually leads to something a lot bigger, and then he's thrust into a situation where his superiors are like, my hands are tied, but this can't be ignored. Jack, do you really believe this? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, then you're gonna have to go to Yemen. He's like, do I have to go to Yemen? And while he's getting sent there, to Yemen. While he's being sent there, he's trying to date like this female doctor. That he was in some rowing accident or something, and in DC in a
gotta get to Yemen immediately, but
no, and he's trying to date this
still
woman.
Alone.
No, and he's trying to date this woman that works at a hospital, and she's like, "What do you do?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm a historian."
he's not gonna tell her
because he can't tell her. So it's like he's a bookish nerd, but he still works for the CIA. But then he's thrust into a situation, and that's Jack Ryan, and I love him. He's like such an awesome character. That's my breakdown of fucking Jack Ryan.
It's Jim from The Office, right?
Yeah. Well, no, currently, who he was originally portrayed by?
Oh, who? Yeah, I know there was one before it was Jim.
Alec Baldwin was the
Yeah?
first in Sum of All Fears.
Oh.
No, in The Hunt for Red October. Sorry. Hunt for Red October.
That's Sean Connery and Alec Baldwin?
Or was it
I don't think it's Alec Baldwin.
No,
It's some other big 90s guy.
No, I'm going to look this up right. No, it was Charlie Sheen or Alec Baldwin or
Charlie Sheen's more accurate, I would think.
Let's see. Alec Baldwin was Jack
Really?
Ryan. Yeah.
All right.
But who did the most movies as Jack Ryan?
Jim.
No.
Who?
No, Jim never did a movie.
I forget, like,
It's a show.
because they only started calling
Yeah.
it Jack Ryan and all that shit, so yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, who played him the most?
Harrison Ford.
That's most of his random action movies, isn't it?
Hunt for Red October. No. Clear and Present Danger, Patriot Games. I think there was one more. Fuck. No, maybe it was only those two movies, Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger. But yeah, he was an amazing Jack Ryan. He was like a dad, to like whatever, and all he wanted to do was just live a normal life as a CIA analyst. But he
I
was
just want to live a normal life.
But he's too good of a guy, like they need him. Like he was too on point. And in the books, what's amazing is through like Tom Clancy managed to pull it off, where towards the end, like of the series of Jack Ryan, by the time his son was already like an operator, Jack Ryan became president at some point.
Ryan Jr.
Jack Ryan became president at some point.
Cool.
Also,
did I ever tell you about the movie Flight of the Condor? I think it's called.
Yeah, I think so. You told me about it.
With Robert Redford. It's kind of like the same thing. Well, it's not the same thing. It's similar. Like he works.
Yeah.
He works for the CIA and like who's
the guy that played him?
Robert Redford, right?
Robert Redford.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like he works for like an anti-propaganda office of like the CIA,
and then he comes back.
It's his job and everyone's job to read through books and watch shows and movies to look for any subversive texts that are anti-government. And he goes for lunch one day, comes back, everyone in the office is dead. Everyone's dead.
And he has to he's like, oh no.
And then someone calls him, someone he knows a little higher up. They're like, it's best we don't call your name. Like for now, I refer to you as Condor. He's like, we need you to come in.
Yeah.
No, something big just happened. We've been hit by so and so. He's like, shit, okay. He goes to head there, and someone else he trusts and knows in the CIA calls him. They're like, you can't go. You can't trust them. They killed everyone at the office. And he's like, what? He's like, yeah, it's a CIA cover-up. The CIA is like, what? Well, we don't want to tell you, but it's that terrorist group. Don't listen to them. And then he meets a woman too on the way.
Oh fuck! I think Ryan Reynolds had a CIA movie like that. I don't know if it was Ryan Reynolds. It was definitely Denzel though. So it was like
Denzel.
It was a
oh yeah, which one is that?
Young guy, young junior CIA dude. All he does is watch safe houses, and Denzel was like the top one of the elite like black ops like dudes, you know, like he fucking gets pulled in because he went
buy it.
rogue, a rogue agent. And then all of a sudden, like, they get raided. Yeah, yo, I love CIA movies. Like, honestly, military fiction and espionage movies is probably my, like, favorite genre, honestly. Because it's such an alien world to me. I am never going to join the military. I am never going to be part of that shit. I'm never, ever once going to ever be, like, involved in, like, you know, black ops shit or, like, you know, like, whatever.
Yeah, it's a little too late for that.
Well, it's not only too late. It's like I wouldn't want to be, you know, like, but the fact that, you know, I get like, you know, realistic works of fiction that could like really depict it. And it's also like, you know, what interests me about it isn't the actual work itself. It's like, it's the psychological element, you know?
Oh, yeah, sure. No, I
Is
get
what that does to a person, you know, like, or the kind of person who does end up in that situation, you know?
Mm-hmm. No, I get why they're good.
Yeah, yeah.
Just, I don't know, there's something that just puts me off about it. It just seems to, like, I really don't like action movies, like movies that are like just action movies. Like it's not dialogue heavy, it's not.
Well,
plot
that's
heavy.
I don't like
can't
that either.
stand, yeah.
See, but
when something is presented to me like that, it kind of turns me off too.
But we're not talking about action movies. No Tom Clancy movie that I've seen is really action. You know what?
I feel like in trailers from what I've seen,
because that's how they sell it.
Well, yeah, I know, but that's
none of it is really like that ever.
Okay.
Yes, there's action segments, but they're really never the main focus. There's only action segments because of the subject matter they're dealing with. It's almost like literally,
yeah.
It's just a par for the course. But the real meat of it is the actual intrigue. You know, the actual like. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's definitely a big part of it because we're talking about like military.
Well, yeah, that's what makes it like interesting. Like,
but in reality, like it's a lot of the intrigue has to do with like backroom shit. I mean, there is one exception. The one element, the one huge military element that Tom Clancy was absolutely genius for was Rainbow Six. Rainbow Six, the idea, the fictional concept of like having like a global elite collective of like combat operators, you know.
For hire.
No, not for hire. No, specifically geared towards like stopping like global terrorist threats of the highest severity. You know, like imagine like, you know, like a bunch of ambassadors held up in a fucking like one embassy with a tactical nuke strapped to them. Like they like sent in Rainbow Six, you know, like
Agent Saturn.
And that's another thing about Tom Clancy. See, he doesn't just write one character. Jack Ryan is my favorite, but there's other characters. There's also John Clark. There's Powell. I forgot what his name was. James Greer. James Greer was the fucking crazy grizzled black fucking
the old grizzled vet.
Yeah, played by James Earl Jones. James Earl Jones did him the best with Harrison Ford. Like basically, James Greer was Jack Ryan's mentor. You know, like James Greer is the guy that was like really had the president's ear. You know, like he was connected, and Jack Ryan was just a no-name CIA analyst. And James Greer was. They portrayed him different ways in like the show and the movies. In the movies, James Greer was like, I like you, Jack. Even if you don't see it, I know you're great. The new portrayal where Jim is Jack Ryan, like this James Greer is like, get the fuck out of my office. You think I got time to deal with your fucking shit?
You're a loose cannon, Jack.
And no. And Jack is just like, I'm sorry, sir, but listen, we literally cannot ignore this. Like, there's a dirty bomb moving through Crimea. Like, we can't ignore it. And James Greer is like
screaming at him, you're talking crazy, dog boy.
And James Greer is like, motherfucker, I'm going through a divorce. My own fucking coworkers are trying to end my career. And you're fucking putting this on my desk, but you're right. Because at the end of the day, James Greer is a good man. So it's like he has to like, and it's like such a good dynamic. Like I fucking love it. I love the show. It's so good.
Possibly give it a try.
Nah, we got to watch the movies together.
I have one of the books. I forget which one I really like.
Oh, also another thing, the best actors have portrayed the characters. William Dafoe was John Clark. Oh my God, he did such a good job at it.
Do love me some William Dafoe. Willem Dafoe.
And you know it's good because they spawned a mass amount of fucking bullshit like like video games and shit.
Like I know what Tom Clancy, I know everyone, not everyone, but like
No. Here's the thing. The way I say it, everyone knows Tom Clancy, but they don't know Tom Clancy.
Right.
You know,
that's what I'm getting at, yeah.
But I'm okay with that. You know, I don't mind. Like, I'm honestly, Tom Clancy himself, his original work wasn't anything crazy. It wasn't anything groundbreaking. It was just good. Mm-hmm. You know, it was just good literature. It was good shit. You know, good literature will obviously make good cinema, good shows, you know? Like,
I will, not necessarily, but...
Yeah. I mean... Like, it's not like Star Trek pulled that off that way. It's not like Star Wars did it. You know, like, they had a rocky start because they didn't have solid literature first, you know? Whereas Tom Clancy will always have it so smooth because the literature is always going to be good, you know? The source material. we're talking about. And it's
he,
not like
he exercises a lot of control, creative control. I'm sure, doesn't he?
Tom Clancy.
Yeah.
That motherfucker's dead.
Oh.
We're riding on his legacy at this point, yo. That's why his works are that much more important to me, you know. Like, I'm just like, dude, it's so awesome that his like he was immortalized, you know. Even he's like respected across all people, across nerds, across fucking normies who like his video games, across fucking military
Well, that's
buffs.
how before I knew there were movies or it was books. I'm like, why is this guy Tom Clancy have so many games?
God, I fucking love Tom Clancy shit. It's so good. For all you listening out there, give Tom Clancy a chance. And if you don't get it, you're probably a woman, and that's okay. I don't hate you. That's fine. You know?
But it's okay. We won't shed a tear when James Patterson dies.
I mean, I couldn't even relate to that statement, to be honest. Like, all the women in my family love Tom Clancy. Like, that's how I know so much about it, is because growing up as a kid, when I would go to the bathroom, like in the shitter, next to the toilet would always be a Tom Clancy book, and I would just pick it up as a kid, and I would start reading it. I'll be like, this is fucking crazy, you know, like. And with the first book I read, I would just be like, wow, there's adult shit that I'm reading, you know. But like then I read the next one, and I was like, holy shit, this connects with that one, but it takes place before the one I read, you know. So I'm like, I get to learn more, and then I read the next one, and I'm like, oh shit, you know, it's like a whole universe.
Yeah.
And then you discover Clancyverse. I discovered Clancyverse before the Marvel universe, you know. Like I was like. I was already primed
You
for
were that before you were reading comics?
What?
But so you were reading Tom Clancy before like comics or
Yeah. I didn't start reading comics till I started reading them with Mike. When Mike picked up started picking up on comics, that's when I started reading it, cuz like I would just like take it from him. I'd be like, "Oh, are you done with that?" And then I would read it. I'll be like, "This is amazing." You know, like so like that's how I got into comics. But even before I was reading comics with him, I was reading like Tom Clancy books and shit.
Okay.
And oh my god, I loved it. So fucking good. It's because I would do a lot of traveling with my family, you know, like we would do like long plane rides and car rides. So I would just
back in your day, you didn't have no fancy smartphones and the Googles.
Well, I had a Game Boy, but the thing is, I mean, the Game Boy was cool and all. It's just something about a book back then as a kid did things to me. You know, I was like, I mean, don't get me, I loved my fucking Game Boy. Like you could not see me put it down.
No, yeah, like
but
reading.
Like, yeah, back then, like when the Harry Potter thing came out, like I was hooked on video games. But even then, like I couldn't put those books down, you know, as a kid. Like I was in the right generation for Harry Potter. Like
you're like being like, I think like just, I mean, obviously the biggest difference is that you're getting like less stimuli like by reading it, and it allows you to interpret like those words. Like you're actually taking and reading it, and like you're seeing it like. At least like in my head, like I play things out in like my own way.
Well, also I have a very active imagination.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like I've always had it. You know, I feel like
when you read a book, you can like you're playing it out in your like head, right?
Yeah.
Like as you're reading scenery and setting and people like where they are, how they're feeling or whatever. Like when it's written well,
yes,
you're imagining that and seeing that.
Yes.
And like, have you ever done that? Like you've read the book and then watched the movie and like it's better, or is it always worse?
Oh, it's always worse. The book is always better. Always, always better. Always, 100%. I will always say the book will always be better. Well, it's also, I also understand my own bias. So like, you know, it was only until I got a little older did I learn to separate that mind. You know, like I understand like, you know, my own interpretation is going to be different than this artist's. He's making his own interpretation, his own portrayal, and it's his art, you know, like, so I learned to appreciate that too. But I still feel like I could tell when it's done poorly. And when it's actually done pretty well.
Like, you know what you'd be, like, nitpicking at and too biased about, and then, like, you could judge it independently of that.
And it's not just movies. It's also video games, too. Like,
well, I just wanted to throw this in. Because you were saying, like, you can recognize your bias. I was driving back from my grandmother's with my aunt, and she's about 60.
Yeah.
I think. Almost 60. And someone came up. We ended up talking, like, because, like, I have, she gave me, like, her copies of Lord of the Rings. That's how I read it. And I was talking about how I was trying to watch the Hobbit movies because I never watched them, and I'm like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
I'm like, and like I rewatched the other movies. I'm like, they're great. And she got pissed at me. She went off a fucking tangent. She's like, that's not Lord of the Rings. She's like, that's action Hollywood bullshit. She's like, that's not what real Lord of the Rings is. That's not fantasy. I was like, okay.
Well, they were still good movies.
Oh, they're good movies, but like,
I mean,
she wouldn't admit it.
Yeah.
Like,
well, she could say that's a terrible portrayal of Lord of the Rings, and that would be very, very fair of her to say.
Heated.
Yeah.
I've never seen my aunt so emotional until I said something out of line about
Lord
of the Rings.
I mean, all right, I have my own beef with the Lord of the Rings trilogy. The thing is with me, I hate it for an entirely different, because I didn't even read the books, so I could not tell you about like fucking, you know, how true the portrayals were. But the reason why I hate the Lord of the Rings trilogy is because the Lord of the Rings movies literally destroyed, absolutely demolished the Cineplex industry, the movie theater industry. Let me explain.
Explain.
Because when Lord of the Rings came out, that was the first time you saw movie theaters dedicating multiple like screens for the same fucking movie.
Oh yeah?
That's cannibalizing revenue. But the hype worked so well that like eventually other movie producers caught on to this, and suddenly they started going, because like, yeah, back
You're saying this is the first blockbuster, like big?
No. See, I'm saying before Lord of the Rings, right? We had blockbusters. After Lord of the Rings, we had mega blockbusters. And
Yeah.
when that happens, that destroys movie theaters, because you got to think of
You're
like,
right. That kind of, I feel like you're absolutely right. Like that leads to producers and directors in Hollywood, whatever, like thinking like, oh,
Cannibalizing?
like we just have to spend a lot of money and make this like over the top and convincing. Like that's the way to do it
for the
And
movie
that
theater to
inflates-
show it on multiple screenings, if they, you know, so that we could get the most money. And yeah, it destroyed everything. And you know why? Lord of the Rings had no choice but to go that far, because the ambition in the production was that fucking heavy. And I don't hate it because I think they intentionally meant to destroy the Cineplex industry making those movies. I think that was completely unintentional, but I still fucking hate it because it did. Because after Lord of the Rings, you had like bullshit like fucking, I don't know, like the Harry Potter movies, you know, like that was like a terrible, that stuck the nail in further into the fucking corpse, you know? It's like, dude, like that's like shit like that really demolished the whole magic of going to the fucking theater.
Did you see the new Avatar?
No?
Who would see that? The first movie is
Just
like,
reminded me, I gotta see it. I have to see
Why?
it. I have to fucking
I've
see
never
it.
seen either one, because like the first movie, it's like its whole shtick is it popularized 3D, and then 3D has been dead for many years now.
Yeah.
And like, and you do a sequel, it's like, but it's I don't know. I just feel like it's missing on the point. Like it's just a vapid movie.
Yo,
that
can I
was
ask you
just-
something?
What?
Are we movie buffs yet? Like, how many movies do we have to fucking sit through to call ourselves movie buffs?
I don't know. I don't care about being called a movie buff.
All right. I definitely do care a lot about movies.
Yeah.
You know what? All right.
So do I. And
So
I have good taste. I
here's
showed
what-
Anthony.
I don't know if I have good taste, but here's why movies are so important to me. Movies and television. Because the thing is, I was raised by immigrants, meaning there was no way in hell my family was ever going to teach me what it was like or what it means to be American, as an American.
Yeah,
growing
television
up.
and movies like praised you.
But television and movies showed me the way. Now, I'm not saying like it made me like do exactly what. No, it's not about that. It literally enlightened me in things and like concepts and certain ideas that I was able to connect with, you know, with my like American peers that I was never able to with my family.
And
you
that
know?
is what you continue to look for and try to get out of TV and movies.
Yeah, for sure. But then now, like, now I fucked myself up because, like, I actually studied, like, you know, I didn't study it myself. Like, I never went to school for it. But I actually, you know, I researched shit. Like, I actually looked into, like, how cinematography works, how, like, you know, the production phases go and all that shit. And, like, it fucked me up because now I watch movies in a completely different light.
Yeah, you look
and I feel like I lost it. You know, like, before, when I was, like, completely retarded about this shit, like, every movie was, like, never terrible. It was always an experience that I was. But now, like, I feel like I watch movies with such a cynical mind. I'm like, holy shit, this sucks. You know, like, you know, let me give you a good example. There's this one movie that I really don't like that everyone loves. It's Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I haven't seen it yet.
I
do want to see it.
I
I've heard
don't
good
fucking
things.
like it. It's just I don't like it because the message itself is like so trite and so like. It's maybe I'm just bitter. Maybe I'll give it another chance. Maybe in like a couple of years, and maybe I'll change my mind.
Hey, I mean that's it's your personal taste. It's art. And it's meant to be interpreted.
All right. So you chose the last movie. I'm gonna choose the next movie, and we're gonna do a Tom Clancy movie.
Okay.
Yeah, baby.
I'm watching a bunch of Coen Brothers movies,
Oh, come on,
and now I'm in a Steve Martin kind of thing because I was at my grandparents' house and they have cable, so I'm like, oh, I'll just turn this thing on and see what's just playing. And The Jerk came on. Steve Martin movie. I love that movie. No, I don't watch that. But yes, fine. We'll watch Tom Clancy movie.
Yes. With Harrison Ford and William Dafoe.
Yes.
Yes. You're gonna
no
love
more.
it. You're gonna fucking love it.
I'm sure I will.
You're gonna love it.
They had like those older ones. That's an older one, right? That's
Like 90s or yeah, it was 90s.
I'd probably like that one better than I would like newer ones.
Well, there are no new Tom Clancy movies. They're all shows. Like,
Oh, okay, yeah.
Well,
Whatever. I don't watch them at all.
well, here's the thing. We live in a dark ages of movies, but we live
Yes, we do.
we live in a golden era
Age
for
of television. Yeah.
Yep.
It switched.
Yep. Television shows are so good, dude. Like,
I actually Tarantino said like it the what do you call it? Movies go in phases and like it happened in like the 70s and it's happening now, or like the 80s maybe, and he's like it's happening again. Like he's like it's
television is fucking good
Well, because
shit right now.
it has a lot to do with like cable and like there being more money in television.
Yeah.
Because before cable, people didn't pay for TV stations.
Yep.
You just got them because you were near.
That's
them.
why Star Trek is like a fucking soap opera. Like,
Yeah, it's so deliciously 80s.
yeah.
But yeah, but like, and also like, since TV shows can have bigger budgets, and like real actors have like come around to like realizing and going like, I want to, the best way to
Showcase my
story,
talent.
yeah, and tell a character story is through TV because
long-
you have a long fucking
You have
time.
like 10 hours to do it, you know, as opposed to just like a chopped up fucking.
It's more realistic
Yes.
to like how that character would develop over a long period of time.
Yes.
Rather than someone being like, what, like lightsabers?
Yes.
Kid, that's wizard shit. He kills a Rhodian and then like by the end of the movie he's like, yeah, I'm fighting for the rebels.
Yes.
It's like that happened awful quick, Han.
Yes, but it's kind of sad, you know. It's like it's all the music is the same way. You notice like we're never about buying albums anymore. Like we don't listen to whole albums. We just listen to song after song. You know, like it's the same.
I
thing.
feel really bad about not listening to albums, not listening to albums like.
No, but it's the same shit with television. But it's cyclical. Trust me.
Well, the worst kind of shows are ones where you don't. I feel like you don't need to watch other episodes.
No sitcoms, dude. Sitcoms are
Oh,
beautiful.
I hate sitcoms.
How do you hate sitcoms?
There's only a few that like I still like. Like I haven't liked the sitcom after. Like I would watch because it was on. I would watch like maybe Everyone Loves Raymond, King of Queens, like that.
Those
era.
are terrible shows.
Those
though.
are terrible fucking shows. So I've never
What about,
liked
like,
anything
what-
that came out. Has
What
come
about
out
the good
after.
ones like Seinfeld?
Oh, I love Seinfeld.
See,
No, I hate every sitcom that has come out like after the year 2000. Like I have no.
Community's really good.
Yes, but what I hate in sitcoms is sets, laugh tracks, like time jokes.
Okay.
Like I can't stand that style of writing.
Yeah, but you know what?
It works for
But
Seinfeld.
sitcoms have evolved. Like
Yeah.
not all sitcoms.
I mean, I like Seinfeld. I like Cheers.
all right.
Like,
What about
Malcolm? Well,
Malcolm in the Middle?
yeah, but it doesn't have it doesn't have a
No,
laugh
that's
track.
what I'm saying.
And one of the
Like,
first shows.
This is what I was just saying. Like, not all sitcoms have laugh tracks.
No,
you
I know, but
Yeah.
the thing I don't like in sitcoms is the laugh tracks. Like my favorite show of all time, at least comedy, Arrested Development.
Yeah, that's good.
It's a sitcom, but
Let me ask you something.
What,
I don't remember, but does How I Met Your Mother have a laugh track? Mm-hmm. Okay, that was a good show though.
I never liked it.
It was a good show.
I'd never rewatch it.
No, I mean it was one of those shows. That, like, all right, a show like Friends. It's like
I hate Friends.
yeah, a show like Friends is like bad writers, but really, really good actors, right?
Sure. Yeah, it's they're who they are. They're
But they're
characters.
bad writers. Like they're really bad writers.
Oh yeah.
Now a show like How I Met Your Mother, really, really good writers,
Sorry.
but terrible fucking actors. Except for Neil Patrick Harris.
I like Jason Segel and Neil Patrick
No,
Harris.
Neil Patrick Harris was the
Oh
only.
no, he's the best one. but-
Everyone else was fucking corny in comparison. The fact is, like, it's almost
yeah, like it's a sitcom.
it's fucked up that Neil Patrick Harris was in that show because like he outshone the other actors so much. It was like, dude, it was fucked up. Like I was like, but it was still a good.
But that's his character. That's what like maybe
He's Barney Stinson.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's Barney Stinson.
He was like Joey, you know.
Yes, but it's something incredibly dumb. Like he's just loud. There's always a flamboyant one,
Yeah,
and that's his character in that.
yeah.
Yeah, just not. A lot of it's very lazy. Frasier, it's got a laugh track.
I
That show's
hate
fucking great.
I
What?
fucking hate Frasier.
No, when's the last time you watched it? You love it.
No, I don't like.
You
Frasier.
love that shit.
I don't like Frasier. I like Seinfeld. I don't like Frasier. Actually, no. I forgot.
I can't see how you
No,
wouldn't
I
like
forgot.
Frasier.
I hate Seinfeld, but I like Frasier.
I'm really confused now.
I like Frasier. I like Frasier. I like Frasier. No. At first, when I was a little kid, when I was a little kid, I was like, I love Seinfeld. Seinfeld is great. I love Jerry Seinfeld. Haha, Jerry Seinfeld. But now that I'm older, I'm like, Jerry Seinfeld is a fucking douchebag.
Nobody likes Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah, he's a fucking dude. And you know what? You know what I do?
all,
you know what I like a lot better?
and George.
You know what I like a lot better than fucking Seinfeld? Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh, it's with Seinfeld, like the whole point, like who's the best character on Seinfeld? Like Kramer and like George. George is the very, like a lot of stories revolve around him. And George is Larry David. So it's just like, oh, like I tried showing my dad Curb Your Enthusiasm. He's like, it just feels like Seinfeld. I'm like, it's fucking. I'm like, yes, it's better Seinfeld. It's Larry David is George Costanza.
It's Seinfeld with balls.
Yeah, it's just more like I love Larry David on Curb Your Enthusiasm is one of my favorite characters ever because it's not most of the time he's not wrong. Like he says shit that we all think, but you're just not supposed to say, and he's just like, like why not?
Yeah.
And you gotta respect it.
You know, there was this, you know what Curb Your Enthusiasm really makes me think about? That's actually like a wild show that you might really like.
What?
But also you might, I don't know, it's like, I don't think you'll like feel okay about it. I think you'll either really like it or really hate it. I know you otherwise you would have talked to me about it, but have you ever watched Entourage?
No.
Ooh, that's going to be a treat. You've never gotten into that, right?
No, I didn't have HBO.
Okay, all right.
My parents would only get HBO for Sopranos.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine. It's
Like fucking like what was it? 2 years of high school on the back of the bus. I'd hear fucking people talk about it like on the way to school, back, and I'm like, I have no idea what you people are talking about.
No, you might like it. You might actually like it. You know. It's like, you know what it is? You know what it is? It's like this. All right, so Curb Your Enthusiasm and Entourage are like the same show, except one is going for max cringe, and the other one is going for max based. They're both ridiculous.
Yes.
They're both fucking ridiculous. But one is cringe, one is based. And they're both sarcastic. Like they're both like no, not sarcastic. They're both satirical. They're both like very, very satirical shows, but in very different ways.
I'm sure I would like Entourage. But it also immediately makes me think of like the kids from high school who didn't realize like it was a satire, like it was like over the top, like.
Well, that's one of the show's undoings. Like the people of the show were saying, like, yeah. So the problem was, as the show got like more successful, we didn't know where to go with it, because at first it worked because
I can't stand that.
Yeah. No. At first it worked because they were able to tell this like story from like the outside looking in, because it was about a bunch of Queens boys, blah blah blah. But the show got successful, and the people watched the show because of the actual excess they were actually making fun of in the show. So it became this like self-defeating. It's fascinating. You got to see it. You got to watch it, because if you like Curb, you'll like Entourage. Like honestly, it's a show about. They're both shows about fucking nothing. Like.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why it works.
That I would know. No one's ever like been like, oh, you like Curb, watch this, but I'm sure I would like Entourage.
Yeah, it's like, there's something special about shows that can pull off being about nothing. Like Eric Andre, Entourage.
Well, not everything has a point. Not everything has to be like there's something crazy fucking going on. Like it doesn't have to be this life altering, life changing event. Like most of life is just nothing. Just doing shit.
Exactly.
That's why what I think is interesting about Miller's Crossing, as opposed to the rest of like Coen Brothers movies, their protagonists are typically like well-meaning people caught up in a scenario that's like just the regular people are just being caught up in a really serious or outwardly outlandish situation. Yeah, and they don't grasp what they're in, like the dude in Big Lebowski, like what's her name in Fargo, like Nicolas Cage in Raising Arizona.
They're not the best people, but they're awesome people. Like
they're just people.
They're just people, but they're solid.
They're not. Someone didn't come and you're the chosen one.
No, they're just
stop
like
the earth from blowing up.
I'm just doing my job here, and I want to do it right. This is what I've been doing for years, and I've been very comfortable with myself doing this for years. What are you gonna do? Throw this in front of me and expect me to do things differently? Nah, I'm gonna handle this the way I know how to handle this. And yeah, it's a great way.
The dude just wants his rug back. But like Tom Regan in Miller's Crossing, he's the exact opposite. So I was thinking about this, I rewatched it the other night. I fucking love that movie.
He's a subversive dude. He's a very subversive man.
He's very obviously the guy running the show. Like, he's in Leo's like ear, right? But to everyone else, he does a great job of making it look like he doesn't, because like
he's just a stooge.
He looks like he looks like a degenerate gambler who makes poor decisions.
But he's nice.
He gets into fights and gets beat up all the time.
And he's nice to you every time he talks to you.
Well, it's because they all know each other. They're all part of the same racket. I love that.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorites.
He's always, even if he's beating the shit out of you, he's nice to you. You know, like.
Well, yeah, because you have to see him the next day. Like you work with the guy in a way.
It's like, I'm sorry, dude. And then it smacks you with a chair, and you're like, what the fuck, dude? How many times did we do this? And you're gonna fucking do a chair with me now?
It's like, dude,
yeah, we did this so many times. Like, we know how this goes.
It's like, dude, chill. Like, come on. I'm just doing my job.
And that's why you're like, nah, fuck this. Fuck you. And then you gotta go. Yeah. But this goes back to what we were saying about how like cops kind of respect gangsters, because it's also they really do just see this.
Like, you work with those guys.
Yeah, they see the same dudes every day. You know, like
you have to.
This is what I'm saying. Like, they're natural enemies, but when I say there's the difference between enemies and natural enemies. Enemies are just like, like an anomaly that you have to like wipe out off the face of the earth. But natural enemies are something that's just always there and omnipresent, and you just got to deal with it. And it's always going to be something that opposes you, but you'll never make it like fully go away. And that's a natural enemy. And natural enemies is more like a nemesis. And a nemesis is honestly closer to a best friend than a friend,
Yeah, because like for someone to truly hate you, they have to know you.
Yep.
For someone to really hate you, they have to know you.
Yep.
And
most people
who you are, that would fucking tear you up.
Most people don't have mortal enemies. Most people do not.
No, because it would mean that person knows you so well and thinks you're a piece of shit and like is like sworn on like stopping you or ruining your life or whatever. Like, that means someone knows who you are, went, no, fuck that person's terrible.
No, most people do not have mortal enemies. Most people don't understand what it means to have mortal enemies. I don't understand I don't have any. I never once watched a man slit my family's throat in front of my eyes and force me to watch it as a young child and force me to grow. I never had shit like that. So I have no idea, but I know there's people in this world who have. That's what it's like to have a mortal enemy, where every time you try to close your eyes every single night to go to sleep, all you see is the face of the guy who killed your family in front of you, like in the Philippines. Like, that's a mortal enemy. I will never, but that is like a really potent thing, And you're right. It is something like where you know them better than your own fucking like family members that are long dead, like it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, like who could... And also, like, it's like, think about it, who would you actually like? How you would have to like piss off somebody with the means to track you down and kill you.
Well, I mean, what if you're a person who doesn't even have to be tracked down? What if you're just so powerful, the person who wants to kill you just has to bide their time. They just have to wait for the right time and prepare, get everything together.
Well, that's not a mortal enemy, because if that was the case, like there'd be.
Could you speak into the mic?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Doesn't make me your mortal enemy, because like if you're like a rich person who's kind of like disconnected in a way, and this mortal enemy has to bide their time, there's probably a bunch of other people that hate this person. That's different. Like, it's not like,
of course, yeah.
Let's say it's a mortal enemy. That's.
But then again, we're talking about like, all right, if it takes you that long to take down your mortal enemy, chances are they're very powerful. Like, think of a guy like Jeff Bezos. How many people do you think consider him their mortal enemy? Think about it. Like, I'm sure there's people out there whose lives were absolutely ruined by him.
Oh, yeah, sure. Mom and pops.
Yeah.
Smaller stores, not big box stores, big stores like Macy's and JCPenney's, brick and mortar stores rather, have suffered because of Jeff Bezos.
But then again, I don't know.
Has someone made an attempt in his life?
Honestly, I don't know. Like, if you're mature enough and competent enough to actually get your own shop running, then you're smart enough to understand the nature of this of business.
I'd say his ex-wife is probably his mortal enemy.
Nah.
Or perhaps his current wife.
Didn't both of them get money?
Yeah, but everyone knows her as Mrs. X Bezos.
What? She got money.
People will forever know that she was like cheated on as soon as her husband got money. I don't know.
What?
I'm talking my ass, but like,
no. Look, all right. Every time I hear about infidelity with rich people, I'm like, dude, those people live in a completely different world.
Well, no, but
like the stories that we
she
get
didn't start like, as a rich person.
No. I'm just saying, like, no matter what, like, when you, like, dude, I'm telling you, those people live a life we will never understand.
Oh, of course. That's when they don't understand our lives.
Like, she never once came out herself with her own words and said, "Oh yeah, I feel so." No, this is all public speculation. The truth is, people who reach that kind of status live by a completely different set of rules and a completely different set of like social standards. And like we can never hope to understand it until we're there. And like I don't ever want to understand it. I like being, like with the fucking, with the of the people. Like I don't want to be a part of the elites.
Man of the land.
No, I'm serious. Like
no, yeah.
Because like to be a part of the elite,
this is the human experience.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, I would like to know powerful people. They get to do all the heavy burden for me. They get to be powerful, and I get to be friends with them, and I get the perks.
I just want to be a friend. That's all.
Yeah.
You have to be like a rich person that finds you really interesting. I feel like if you're not in the same class as them, like you'd really have to entertain this fucking rich person for them to like just be like, I like this guy. He's like normal.
Yeah. Shit. Maybe that's how my boss sees me. Maybe that's how he views me. He's like, I like. I'm thinking about it now, and I'm like, he's kept me around for so long, and I'm like, he probably views me like that. Like he interests me. He's not like other Chinese guys.
Mm-hmm. All right. I've talked to Chinese people before, but somehow this guy's different.
It's almost like
I'm
he's
not Chinese.
Yeah, whatever.
I told you something different about you.
Tomato. No, I mean, I'm self-aware. I know I'm not like a lot of people. Like I get it. What can I say? I have
You're cut above.
Well, it's also I think most of my shit is mostly circumstances. With like the type of people my dad was, the type of people who raised me were, the type of people who I grew up around were, and the kind of the specific time and the place where I grew up and when I grew up, like it all just formed just to create the perfect lightning in a bottle moment, which is me.
Nature and nurture.
Yep, it's the right equation. Which honestly, like I don't believe in like a natural order of things. Like
you believe in fate?
No,
me neither.
I believe it's all.
I can't stand people who do.
No,
I can't.
I believe everything is. I
can't stand like.
I believe. You know what I do believe in? That's actually that is kind of ordered of me to say. I believe in chaos. I believe in randomness. I think if there's one true constant you could always have faith in is the fact that things will always be fucking chaotic and random when you least expect it.
Well, yeah, I mean, like for majority of things, you're acting in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Randomness and chaos is. I wouldn't say.
I understand when they say.
I don't think randomness and chaos is all of life. I think it's literally. Well, I mean, I'm not a genius.
It's yin and yang.
Yeah, I'm not a genius for saying this. Because like people have been saying this for thousands and thousands of years.
Matter can neither be created nor destroyed. Energy can't be created nor destroyed.
We're talking about duality. That's why it's it's kind of like I get why people are against like I don't believe in the gender binary, but I'm like, dude, our whole reality is made through binaries. Like
dude, we just got over agreeing to this like a couple hundred years ago. We got to do this all over again.
0 and 1, 1 and 2, sacred fucking like like balance. Like it's good
1,
shit.
0,
like
0,
come on,
1.
Jesus fucking Christ. Let's see where we're at.
This is dragging. Ugh.
You just want to do drugs again. I want. That's all I'm thinking about. I'm just like, I want to get off the mic so I could do some more drugs.
Did we talk about, because you texted me a very mean statement about wrestling and its importance in my life?
What do you mean?
Oh no, remember you texted me like a week ago about he was like, yo, your dream's dead. WWE is getting sold to Saudi Arabia.
I texted you that?
Yeah.
Let me see. Wait, hold on. Because I was probably fucked up when I sent that. Like, shit.
Well, it was, I guess I saw it in the morning, and it was 1:30 when I got it. And I was like, why would he write that in caps?
What do you mean?
You wrote it all in caps. I could be exaggerating on that.
Wait, did I really send you this? When was this?
Over a week ago.
Nah, dude. I don't see it. Did I really text you this? I think it was someone else. Wait, what did I say? WWE was going to be sold to Saudi Arabia?
Yeah.
Oh, it's true, though.
No, it's not.
What?
Everyone thought so, like, because before I went to bed that night, I just started reading, like, article after article. Oh, no, I'm sorry. You wrote, lol, R.I.P. WWE.
Yeah,
Your franchise is fucking dead.
Yeah. No, because they got sold to Saudi Arabia.
Everyone thought that for, like, 6 to 8 hours. Like it breaks me, like
for 6 to 8 hours.
I'm
And you were like, what? And I'm sorry, I was joking. Like I wasn't serious when I said that. I was like, all right.
Oh
Whatever.
no, I didn't think you were. But I was just like, why would you write that?
And then you just looked it up and you're like, oh no.
Because I woke up and I saw that. I'm like, fuck, I remember now. I explained that, and then what's great is I go on Reddit after, and I see that everyone's like, oh yeah, that wasn't confirmed.
Oh, it's so funny.
Told. I'm like,
it's so funny. I was probably just like,
you almost ruined my day.
It's so funny. I was just fucking around. Probably.
I know. But like I woke up. I'm like, oh yeah, wrestling's owned by the Saudis.
So funny. I was like, oh man, yeah, that would have been fucked up. That would have been the most fucked up thing.
Dude. Like when I read it, like because like wrestling reporter after wrestling reporter is like,
you should be a wrestling
confirming it. Oh yeah, I could make shit up.
Yeah.
They're just like, yep, done deal. Vince came in, sold, fired 3 people. Three chairmen resigned.
Yo,
he replaced him with his people.
I just
his
thought
daughter
of
resigned as CEO, and he's actively trying to sell it. But
dude, I just thought of an insane fucking. Wait, are there YouTubers who like do like sarcastic and like satirical takes on like the WWE events? Not like saying like, oh, this is so fake, and it's like, oh yes, here we go, Triple H coming again to save the day. You know,
what,
like as
wrestling
usually.
YouTubers?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I watch. There's one in particular I really like.
Like remember
everyone else I watch.
Remember what
like
you showed me with the baseball guy who just does the funny
John Boy?
Yeah. And then he actually works for.
He works for the Yankees.
Yeah. So is there something like that for the WWE?
He has a bunch. Someone that works for WWE that like does
that good? You know, like.
There is a wrestling YouTuber that I really like.
Yeah.
His channel is called Wrestling Regret, and like he. And like he like covers my favorite thing he does is like he reviews old pay-per-views, and like he's like worked in wrestling. Like he tried wrestling like a little bit, but like he's not built for it. But he became a manager. He's involved in. He's done things and he knows people. Like he goes to conventions and he knows wrestlers and he knows wrestling. So like he reviews them like honestly, but like he's not like he's coming from a fan's like point of view. Like he's not mocking it for being like weird or fake, but he's like a point. He's like that looks really bad or like that makes no sense.
Honestly,
but he also appreciates it. Like he's not like harsh or anything.
Okay.
It's also like wrestling is just really fucking stupid sometimes.
Well, you know how I would approach. I would approach wrestling like theater. That's exactly what it is. It's theater.
It's like a soap opera. It's a cross like a soap opera.
It's combat theater.
Circus.
It's combat theater.
Yeah. It's like who the fuck would really want to watch 2 people like beat themselves up with chairs and go on through tables on fire? It's kind of sadistic.
But that's what they do for theater, you know?
Yeah. Well, it draws you in emotionally.
Yeah.
When it's done right, when they tell a nice little story.
I'm sorry.
Babyface overcoming the heel.
I didn't even remember that. Like, fuck, I got to be more careful when I'm drunk and on my phone. Like, you know?
No, it was just like, I was I'm like, why did he text me that?
And then you looked up WWE.
No, because I remember like that. I mean, it reminded me, like, fuck, like, yeah, if you got Saudi Arabia, they're going to fire this guy that's Iranian. For sure, maybe they'll fire Triple H. Maybe Triple H will refuse to work for them. Maybe he'll start like booking for
his
AEW,
own fucking. He's like he starts his own wrestling
for another wrestling company.
He starts his own wrestling federation, Triple H, HHH. That'll be sick.
Well, because the other
heavyweight wrestling federation, like
you know the other major. Do you know the name of the other major American wrestling company?
There's a lot. There's a couple.
No, like this is like a clear number 2 because it's owned by Tony Khan, who owns like Jacksonville Jaguars.
All I know is like ECW, WWC.
No, like I'm talking about like right now. WCW has been gone for a long time, but like that guy's a multi-billionaire, and so like the rumor went from like maybe Triple H would quit WWE because he doesn't work for the Saudis, because that would make you a bad person. So like he like starts booking for the other company. Like imagine how great that'd be.
Yeah,
and that's what he would do. And now like now the people are like, oh, like what if he buys it? Which doesn't make any sense. You
know what I'm actually more interested in?
Disney will buy it or Fox.
You know what's actually cooler to me than like the WWE shit?
A lot of things are cooler than WWE.
No. I'm saying like in the same vein. Like honestly, the like early gen UFC shit, like the early stages of like
that shit's because that shit's like fucking like almost no holds barred.
It was amazing. When Brock Lesnar came into the scene,
not early, but
fucking God, like that was like insane shit. You know, like MMA was like, first of all, MMA is a weird fucking sport. It's a very, very weird professional.
You're agreeing to fight people who weigh about the same as you and may have a completely different style. Like,
Yes.
like a crazy, it's like just an agreement
Amazing.
between like, hey, we weigh the same, we're gonna fight. You don't fight the same. You don't get like rest like based
And
on
you know
that.
what's fucked up? Like compared to like a pro wrestler or a pro boxer, even MMA fighters are treated like shit. Like these people are like
By who? Like the general public, like the way they're thought of. you think, or-
everybody.
No, people like really like them.
First of all, let me tell you something. Like 90% of actual people who identify as MMA fighters, they work shit jobs like flipping burgers, waiting tables.
Oh yeah,
and
no,
shit.
oh yeah, sure. Like
The vast majority are poor ass fuckers. You
oh
know?
no, yes, like I'm like not in UFC or not whatever the second other one is. And they don't
Second
make
of
that
all,
much money.
even actual promoted and sponsored fighters, even them, they barely cut like six figures. You know, like even those guys, like there's professionals that barely make like 70K a year. You know, like just fighting. Like they have to
Yeah.
supplement it with other shit. You know.
Well, I think like I don't really know exactly how UFC works. Like I believe they're like all independent contractors
Yeah,
to an extent.
exactly.
So they book with other organizations unless like
So think
UFC
about it.
probably has like an exclusivity thing because there's more on the line. They pay you more.
They put
But
the
yeah,
purse down, and then whoever really qualifies as an independent fighter ever gets the fight. You know,
Yeah.
like you know, and they do that through the brackets, and I get that, and that's great, and weight class, and I get that. That's also great. But there's like you said, it's like no holds barred. Like yes, there's rules, certain things you fucking.
I thought you were talking about early like MMA fighting, like in like the 90s.
Oh
'cause
no,
at
no,
first
no,
they're
no,
like,
no, no, no,
that's-
that's not MMA. That's just straight up like.
That was UFC. Like the first like UFC event, like there wasn't a restriction on
No, I'm talking about like early like when.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm saying I thought you were talking about the other thing before.
Oh no.
But-
If what you're talking, all right. So if you want to go by what you're talking about, I mean that shit stretches back to like fucking like Brazilian street fighting tournaments. You know, like that's where the Gracie family really comes from. You know, where
Yeah.
like a lot of that Brazilian jiu-jitsu came from like the Vale Tudo fucking tournaments where like those dudes would be like in like dingy ass fucking squares and this one guy who was trained by like a Japanese dude lineage who traveled to Brazil and South America on like a spiritual pilgrimage to spread like his form of judo that turned it's insane. It's fucking insane. It's really a crazy thing.
I know that the Gracies are like an interesting story. and,
But
like,
the Gracies, like I think the Gracies are they also did a lot of dickheaded shit. But that's what you get out of a warrior family. You know, like that's
well, yeah, weren't they like kind of in charge of a lot of things?
yeah, they still are. They still are. They,
No, but I'm saying for that first like
it's a
show,
dynasty. It's
Yeah.
it's a modern dynasty
Yeah.
for sure.
And good for them.
But they're not perfect. I mean, here's my problem with jiu-jitsu, right? Like let's say you're a jiu-jitsu master and if I fought you, I'd be fucked up. But your greatest weakness is if I just had one friend with me, you'd be cooked.
Well,
You'd be done.
that's why we'd agree where we would agree where to fight, what time, agree
But
to
if
terms.
and then but you know what? Fuck that. If
Fight like gentlemen.
No, that's not how fight works. Like
No,
usually
no.
it's like yeah. So it's
Have
like
you no class, sir?
so it's like listen, Chris. If we're in a bar together and I end up in a street fight with a jiu-jitsu master, you need to have my back, please. Like please, like.
Oh no, yeah, that's fine. But I'm saying
Alright.
if I were the jiu-jitsu master and I was fighting you, I would discuss terms before the fight.
No, that's,
Yeah, I'd be like, no dirty moves, no people jumping on anybody. Not that it would affect me much, but no one's jumping in. Like no,
not that it would affect
yeah,
me
no,
much.
it wouldn't do much. I could handle it very easily, but just for their own sake, don't do that.
Yeah. No, but seriously, like honestly, all it takes is one friend to fuck up like the whole shit. That's why, like, you know, MMA is great because, like, you know, they do like apply jujitsu, but just jujitsu alone, it's like wrestling, you know. Like, yeah, one-on-one, you're gonna be unstoppable, but when it comes to like actual fucking like, you know, a street situation where like you're just a guy that only does jujitsu and you're up against like a crowd of like three dudes who all want a piece of you, like you're done. You know, like there's no way. Whereas if you're a boxer, you're specifically trained to like just drop them all and just taps, you know, just like,
Yeah.
you know, like,
Cover, like, hit,
yeah,
recover,
yeah,
yeah.
just be like, you know, just drop guys with hit after hit after, and you don't even have to be a big dude. You just have to be an accurate dude. You just have to be able to hit them in the button, you know, like just beep and then you just drop. Because like, you know,
Boxing is very much an art. Like
that's
it's
what
a
I'm saying. It's,
perfected art,
it's
like-
called a sweet science,
Yeah.
you know, like for a reason. Like there's literally a button in the space between where the jaw connects. If you're able to make direct contact with that with just like not even like 3 pounds of force, probably 3 to 4 pounds of force. That's enough to rattle the brain just enough for you. It's like flipping a light switch in your brain. You just like kill over. Even if for a moment you can't help it, your whole shit just goes limp. You know, like it just bloop. You know, it's like done. And that's why boxing is like so beautiful. That's why I'm gonna do boxing.
Boxing is when done right or whatever. Like
your brother does that shit, right?
He used to.
Oh. Here's the thing. It's like I think it's like if let's say you like boxing as a sport, right? You're like, oh, this is fun. This is cool.
I could appreciate like I'm not gonna watch boxing like regularly, but like if I hear like two of the best guys at it or doing it, it's like okay, like I want to see two pros like perfect their craft. Like,
no, I mean, all right. So I'll be honest. Like this is probably really toxic, but like. I don't watch boxing matches either, but what I do is like I go on YouTube and I look up like trained boxers in street fights, you know. So like,
no,
you know,
see that's not right.
No, but they have records of like you see videos of like guys who just like get into some shit and you could tell they don't want to be there, but it's like you could also tell when they go at it they're trained and like the way they move you're like holy.
When you're a trained fighter, you have to register your like hands.
But literally. You know what's funny? It's like
you beating somebody up is like deadly force.
But what's funny is like when you look at the way the boxers fight and the way they're like making contact, it's like you could tell the way they're trained. They're not trained to like keep going until some guy's face is bloody. They're just like trying to make contact and make points, you know, like with like pads and like.
Well, that's another reason. What's his name?
That's why I think boxing is so beautiful. It's like a gentleman's art, you know. It's like fencing. Yeah. It's like, dude, like I'm not trying to like maim you or do harm to you or make you. I'm just trying to.
That's what I'm saying. It's a fight with rules.
I try to do good, but no, but it's different though.
No,
like,
it's different.
No, because if
you think they don't agree, like, hey, your buddy can't jump in and fight me, like boxing would fall apart.
Because if you're like really passionate about boxing, I feel like if you're like a boxing geek, if you're like a boxing nut, I feel like if a guy comes up to you with a knife, you're like, oh great, an added challenge, you know, like now it's like I really got to like drop him, you know, to like, you know, like to like let's see how good I really am, and they're probably gonna fucking like wreck that dude, you know, like.
I think I just had the greatest worst idea ever.
What?
Boxing tag team matches. They're not fixed. They're boxing matches. Tag team match.
Yeah.
There's a fighter on the corner, and two fighters meet in the middle. Bell rings. They fight each other, but they can go in and tag their buddy.
Yeah.
You know, like if they have like some rest in or they get a chance to. So what's great about that is if if like two of them like get in the ring at once and start beating up the one guy, like they're gonna beat the shit out of him like till he's like knocked out. And it's gonna look ugly. It's like two like guys like overpowering somebody.
Yeah.
Aggressively. So like all of a sudden it's like the bad guys won.
Or what could happen?
We got to get those bad guys back.
Or what could happen is like one guy gets knocked out really quick immediately, and then there's only one guy left to take on the other two.
Yeah, or like the babyface rallies and comes back and beats. So like it can go either way.
Yeah.
It can either look like 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 really like assault, or it looks like the greatest story ever told.
Yeah, true.
The babyface coming back against the odds.
It reminds me of Tekken Tag Team tournament. Tekken Tag. No, it was like regular Tekken, except you had the option
to
like
switch.
Yeah, that was an awesome mechanic.
It was.
Because Tekken is already a really fun fighting game. You know, it's like because
Tekken
first of all,
was like if you said like there wasn't fighting game, it was like Mortal Kombat, Tekken, Street Fighter.
All right, here's the reason why Tekken stands apart is because Tekken goes on both axes, like X and Y axis, whereas most fighting games before then were always 2D. You know, it's like sides going. Right, yeah. Tekken added the dimension of like the other axis, so that's what made it special. And like now it's just like you look at like some really good dudes play, because like now they've added like moves where it's like you don't just sidestep, but you could do like crazy like weaves and shit. So it's like you watch pros play it. It's like these dudes could barely hit each other. Like like. It's pretty crazy. It's nuts to look at, and like I think that's awesome, and that's why I appreciate Tekken, and that's why I think Koreans love it, because they love that like complex mechanic shit. But
Makes sense.
All right, you know what it is? It's like comparing Tekken to Street Fighter is like comparing chess to checkers.
Okay.
Like one is more of a psychological game, and the other one is more of an emotional game. Actually, no, they're both pretty psychological. Checkers is fucking cool, though. People sleep on checkers. That's a good game.
And so like, well, there's somebody. I have a feeling like there's like one guy who like is the greatest checker player of all time, and he runs checkers. So he like purposefully like has it portrayed in the media as like a game for kids that you grow out of.
Yeah.
You don't know what adult plays checkers.
No, checkers.
Like,
is
old
great.
kids do, or crazy old people in the park do, if they don't have chess pieces. But
No, checkers.
it's big.
Is cool.
It's big checkers.
Yeah. No, I like how checkers lets you do like those moves where it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. I'd skip like take a bunch of. Yeah, that's cool.
Does that happen?
Maybe. Statistically, it's probably really unlikely, but I'm sure it can. Another, but the thing about chess is like an insane fucking game. Chess is like ridiculously crazy.
Yeah.
It's I can't even just call it a game. It's like a sport, an art, and a science. Like chess is ridiculous. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful just a thing that exists, and it's like nuts.
I don't like playing like those chess apps that have like time limits because I'm not very quick.
Well, it's
because I try to look at every move.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's the thing about chess, right? Chess is literally a perfect game. Not many games are perfect games, but chess is a perfect game. Why? Because there's no chance involved. There's no luck. All the information, anything that could ever happen
is right there.
You could literally see everything that could ever happen.
It's your fault. It's your fault if you don't see someone's anticipate a move they could do.
If you lose, it's your own fault. Like there's nothing that you could ever blame. It wasn't luck. It was because the other person played better chess.
It's because you saw like, oh, they went there, like nothing. Then you start, then like you're like, all right, I'll do this. And you're like, wait, if I do this, they can set themselves up for this.
And suddenly they just do this
like,
anyway. You know, it's like they still fuck you up.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, I got a plan for this now.
So
sometimes they do it, and sometimes
you know
they
why
don't.
I appreciate chess. A lot of it is because I appreciate sword fighting. I appreciate the sword duels. Sword duels and chess are like the same exact fucking thing to me.
There's rules.
No. It's not the rules. It's first of all, in chess, the rules only create the dimensions of reality. Because in reality, there are rules. You can only jump so high. You can only swing so far. You can only throw something so straight.
That's the 3D universe fucking with the 2D universe.
Yes. So that's what chess is about. The chess is about inventing dimensions to actually simulate
I
real
can only
world.
move on this plane this way to do this, or this way in general.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's that alone like makes it like super relatable, you know, and also in like correlation to sword fighting, it's exactly that, you know. In sword fighting, I'm limited. I mean, yes, I'm empowered with this sword. I could reach so much further and kill people with it, but I'm still limited.
He knows I could probably do that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm limited in the ways. First of all, there's only so many ways I could effectively swing it. There's only so many ways that, you know, like I could step, and like I could only get so close before I'm in danger and we're both in danger of swinging each other. So I got to use my brain.
Yeah.
I can't just like go in and you rely on strength because he could easily slip that and fucking cut my face or some
how
shit.
Often
you know?
like do you see like a battle in anything between the best ever and it's completely one-sided? It's not, because like you might be like, all right, this is what I'll do. It's like, oh shit.
He could do that.
He could do that. He might know that.
You know what's really what's really stressful is if you see a knife fight. If you see two dudes with a knife like trying to like fucking like end each other, like it's stressful to watch. You're like, because they have to get close. One has to get close, but it's like they're both like struggling.
I would run very far away from a knife fight.
I mean, what really ends up
If they
happening.
both have knives, what am I supposed to do?
Well, the idea.
That seems like two men who have agreed to a social contract, which is one of us is going to stab the other one.
Well, all right.
If they were both equally armed, I would let them be.
So there's two options, right?
Yeah.
One, you rely on technique. So if you're taught like moves where you're able to like slip shit or like anticipate a guy's and manipulate his movements and be able to like exploit it, then do that if you got it really down. But most of the time what's going to happen is like both people are untrained. They just both have knives. And they get closer because, like, if they both already there with their knives drawn, they know they want to kill the other. So they both get closer. And what ends up happening is they get into a strength match. It's like they start wrestling. It's like I grab your wrist with the knife, you grab my wrist with the knife, and we both see who could, like, you know, stab the other one first. And it's a test of strength at that point.
Who do you think would hold the record for, like, one-on-one, small, like, you know, knife stabbing duels?
What do you mean?
There's got to be someone who, like, is really good at it. Don't you think, like...
Anyone who's trained. Like, you know, there's people who are literally, like, trained to, like, say, like, oh, like let's say you have a knife and I have a knife. You know, if it's just me and you the way we are now, I'm not trained with a knife. You're not trained with a knife. We're probably just gonna try to get as close as we can to each other, and I'm probably gonna try to like swing, and then you're gonna back up, you're gonna swing, I'm gonna back up, and I'm eventually gonna be like, all right, I'm just gonna have to get in close and try to like overpower you and stab you, and you're gonna do the same. But if we're trained, if I was trained, then I'll be like, I'm gonna fake, I'm gonna dip in, knowing he's gonna slash, then I'm gonna dip back, grab his arm, then fucking poke him. You know, that's strategy. You know, like
Yes. Yeah.
so it's like if you're trained in strategy, then that's what you're gonna rely on. But most people aren't, like I'm not trained.
But
So
if, like people, I'm like that's what I'm saying is like people who get into like people would never who like professionals who know like self defense would agree to like fake like knife stabbing duels. Like
wait, what?
I lost my train of thought.
No, you're saying like you were basically wondering.
The guy like it's the people who would be doing this would be like people on the street. Like it's a street reputation. Like you don't get world famous by being. No, the greatest.
No. There are definitely martial arts out there that.
No, I know. I just the way I'm picturing in my head is like two guys like on the street corner, both with little pocket knives.
Yeah.
An equal fight to the death.
Oh well, all right.
Fight to the death. Like whoever
Actually,
gets stabbed the most.
here's a brutal piece of imagery. Remember Saving Private Ryan?
Yes.
Remember towards the end that like the knife fight between the big German dude and the fucking
Well, yeah,
the little Jewish guy.
if that isn't America right there.
Oh my god, that was such a was that not like probably the best scene in the whole fucking movie? Like that was so fucking sick. Like even as a kid, like I was really upset at the scene because I grew attached to the character. I was like 9 watching that movie.
It's a good movie.
But at the time, I was like, I still even recognize objectively, like I put myself outside of that, and I was like, this is a sick, amazing scene. Like,
oh yeah,
it's fucking awesome. Like,
that's America. That scene is America. It's a touch of Hollywood.
No, Germans aren't that competent anymore, to be honest.
No, but I'm just saying, like, that's America because it's just like shoving that symbolism down your throat. Like, look. We beat up the big scary. Remember those big scary Germans? They were all big and scary. They had us on the run.
Stabbing Jews slowly.
Drinking the blood of poor innocent Jewish people.
I love that fucking movie so fucking much. It's such a good
movie. Yeah.
Oh god, that's why I love Band of Brothers. Oh,
yeah, I gotta finish that. That is a good show.
Yeah, it is.
But like every time my dad comes over, you want to watch Band of Brothers? I'm like, no, I don't watch Band of Brothers. Like right now.
Yeah. No, it's good. So it's like I'd say we could wrap this up. Do you have any closing notes for the people, for the fan? I think this was a great episode. I mean,
I thought this is actually the worst one yet. I don't think
really
you should air this.
Nah, you're fucking with me. All right,
Just
anyway.
cut that.